This is unbelievable. Tonight, we're taking you back 50 years to a case that just gripped the South. A real estate heiress kidnapped, held for ransom, and she was buried alive, Jess, in Georgia.
What a story, but her case came to a close right here in Oklahoma. And in her first and only interview, the fingerprint analyst who brought one of the high-profile suspects to justice sat down with Marky Martin.
To do something that horrible to another person, I don't understand that. I guess for money.
This is Jean Price now.
And I think that is the sweetest picture.
This was Jean Price at 25, a young employee of the OSBI and Oklahoma's only female fingerprint analyst at that time.
Well, you have your whorls and your loops, and they each count for something, and then you have scar tissue, you look for scar tissue, and that's what you do. And it's been 50 years, so I've kind of forgotten a lot of that.
The year is 1968, and hundreds of miles away from Oklahoma City, a college student by the name of Barbara Mackle is kidnapped in the middle of the night from a hotel in Decatur, Georgia. The daughter of a wealthy land developer, Mackle's captors, Gary Christ and Ruth Eisman Shear, hold her for a ransom of $500,000.
I want you to keep your eyes open. I want you to smile. This is for Daddy.
The story turned into 2 television movies. Mackle was buried alive in a ventilated box for 3 days, underground with 1 light bulb, food, and water laced with sedatives. Both suspects scrammed and split up after receiving the money.
She was buried alive for 83 hours, and he finally told them where they could find her, and they dug with their hands and anything they could find to get her out. And she survived.
Chris was arrested within days, but it was more of a hunt for Ruth.
She was book smart but didn't have any common sense.
Ruth escaped Georgia, hopping on board a bus that took her into hiding.
And came to Oklahoma, to Norman, and applied for a job at Central State Hospital. And when you go to work for the hospital, you have to be fingerprinted in a background check. And we were lucky we got the prints when we did, because she was leaving that night.
Those prints handed over to Price in the lab. She then compared them to the partial prints found inside the suspect's getaway car.
This one goes this way and this one goes this way.
And in minutes, she had a perfect match.
How sure were you?
Oh, I was sure. I was sure.
And that's how it came to be that Oklahoma's only female fingerprint analyst at that time caught the first female on the FBI's most wanted list in Norman, Oklahoma. Price receiving letters from the likes of the governor and the head of the FBI himself.
Dear Mrs. Price, my associates and I are indeed grateful to you for your alertness on March the 5th in identifying the fingerprints of an applicant for state employment as those of one of our 10 most wanted fugitives. Sincerely yours, J. Edgar Hoover.
Of course, our thanks to Jean Price for that exclusive interview. Now, after her kidnapping, Barbara Mackle has been private about the ordeal. Gary Christ went on to become a doctor in Indiana. And Ruth Eisman Shear served her time and returned back to her native Honduras. We reached out to her online, but she has not returned our request for comment. Reporting in studio, Marky Martin, KOCO 5 News.
Jean, of course, a true trailblazer in her field. And just think about back then, they didn't have the technology that you have today.
Oh, yeah. She was a true detective. I mean, the definition of detective, that makes me want to go be a private eye. So that was really, really cool and really neat of her to share the stories. And even these old photographs. I mean, wow.
It's a fascinating story.
It really was. Marky, thank you so much.